Is it well with your soul? Yes. Isn't that right? It is now. It is now well with our soul. And isn't it easy when we're in this setting, on this sacred ground, in the vibratory field of a vortex, the beauty that we see, the beauty that we hear, just wonderful, thank you. And the sharing that has taken place already, where we open our hearts to one another. It's really easy here to know that it is well with my soul. And I believe that is why we come here, right? But when we leave here and we go about our day, when we turn on the radio and listen to what's happening beyond this sanctuary, and we get into our week, do you believe it's well with your soul then? Are there not times when it doesn't feel so well with our soul? Are there times when it feels as if things aren't working? Or maybe even that what we say here doesn't work, right? Right? It can feel that way sometimes. And what I want to say is that I can just tell you about my own experience in life. Let's say it's divided into two from this point forward. Okay? There was a part of my life where I didn't have this. There was a part of my life where I didn't have this level of faith. And boy, it rarely felt well with my soul. It rarely felt well. Now I might have thought it did, and I was caught up in drama and conjecture and seeking, perhaps. But there came a point where the experience of going through life with a sense of faith and a power greater than myself, a God of my understanding, not a God of a religiosity, but a God of my personal, intimate understanding, that things began to shift for me. And I can now stand up here with conviction and say, yes, it is well with my soul. And so how can that be? Well, the way that we introduced ourselves to one another. In the world, before having that conviction, I identified myself as body. Since that time, and I led in the world in that way, but since that time I have come to realize that and believe with every fiber of my being that it is my soul that leads. Now that's hard because it's invisible, and yet the echo of it, and yet the evidence of it is all around us. And so there is this soul aspect of us that we focus on. The who am I? I am spirit aspect. That's our focus, and that's what we lead from. We don't deny that we're having an experience in form, in a body, that becomes our communication device in the way that we get around in the world, the way that we serve one another. Not denying that. But what I'm saying is that first and foremost, we are spirit. And that soul is birthless, deathless, unlimited, and free. And it is that connection with it that allows me, that divine identity that allows us then to be able to say, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul, no matter what happens in the world of appearances, no matter what happens in form. Because you know what? I've been here before, is my personal belief, and I'll be here again, probably. And the soul ever evolving in its consciousness, in its awakening to its remembrance of home, its remembrance of source. And so that's how we're able to say, it is well with my soul. And our topic this month is the power of prayer. And prayer then becomes the medium through which we access that power. So prayer becomes the medium through which, when we're not feeling like it's so well with our soul, that we can turn within, and prayer becomes a pathway, an inner communion with the all that is, such that we can make that shift, a shift of our perception, into a miracle-mindedness so that we can then see beyond appearances, which is what all of those who are dedicated to prayer do. Every time we close our eyes and turn within, that is what we are practicing. And so this week is Unity Worldwide World Day of Prayer. And I love the topic for it. So we will be celebrating it here on Wednesday and Thursday, and there will be announcements about that. But the topic, which is the topic of my talk today, is that, what is it? That's why this is here. All is well with my soul is my talk title today. Embedded in this larger conversation that we're going to have all month about the power of prayer. But the affirmation for World Day of Prayer is this: no matter the condition, all is well with my soul. No matter the condition in the world, all is well with my soul. So that is given as an affirmation. I'm going to invite you to speak it with me. We're going to do it 3 times. Start out soft as a whisper, and then a little bit louder, and then the third time as loud as you'd like it to be. But let's begin the first one. No matter the condition, all is well with my soul. No matter the condition, all is well with my soul. No matter the condition, all is well with my soul. Feel that. Feel that. So how can we say that? How can we say that when conditions seem contrary to it being well with our soul? We remember what conditions are. We remember what circumstances are. Conditions and circumstances, the events of the world, are effects of our thoughts. Our thoughts are what is creative. We've said that in our summer theme. We were planting seeds all summer. Those seed thoughts, the divine ideas, are creative. And when we receive them in our consciousness and nurture them, they outpicture into form, into flowers, into tomatoes, into grass, into whatever. It extends out. But all of that in of itself, while it is an echo of the divine, it's not causative. We can change conditions by changing our minds, by planting different seeds. And this is what prayer helps us to do. Some people say that every thought is a prayer, and in some sense it certainly is. But the prayer that we're speaking about here is an affirmative prayer. It's the alignment with the thoughts of God, the thoughts of love. When we're amiss in our prayers and our thinking, sometimes we make things in our experience that become conditions that we don't care for. But we can change them. What's happening in the world seems daunting because not only am I creating, but we're all creating, and we have a collective consciousness that is happening. But anything in the world of form, anything that we're hearing on the news, all of those things, and our founders would label them like this: sin, which is just simply error thoughts, sin, sickness, like pandemics, like other illnesses, sin, sickness, and death, loss. All of those things are conditions in a mind that is separated from its source. That's a big and bold statement, isn't it? But because we've got a lot of evidence pointing to the contrary. But we're going to talk about that. So how do you see beyond conditions? How do we see beyond conditions? How do we do that? How do we wake ourselves up, shake ourselves out of the mesmerism of a mind thinking from separation, a mind that is an illusion? How do we do that? Well, again, I can share with you my experience. Everywhere I've ever lived, I have found solace and peace in nature. When I was a little girl, and I've shared where I grew up before, but I grew up in this idyllic spot that had a woods in the backyard. And so as a little girl, I remember feeling and sensing what I now know to be God or source or being in the woods, in the aliveness and power of nature. And then as an adult, I remember when I lived in Colorado, I would feel it when I would be climbing. Well, I make it sound like I was climbing. I mean, like, yeah, and rappelling too. No, I was hiking, and, hiking on mountains, in Colorado, I would feel the beauty of nature, and I would sense and feel God. And so in the walks and the landscapes and the seascapes of my life, and wherever I happen to live, tend to be the places where I get that. And moving here to this property, I've had to find, I've never lived in Florida before, and the landscape seems different, but the beauty is there, and my answered prayer is that I'm here. My answered prayer is I'm here at Unity in Naples, because as I am here and I am on the grounds here, I feel so blessed. I feel that I landed in a place where that sanctuary is, where I can remember and go out to the gazebo and look out onto the pond, or go to the labyrinth, or just sit on the property somewhere and I can feel that shift. But you got something else here that's awfully cool, and that's the beach. Right? And so we were here for about a week when I realized we haven't put our toes into the water yet. I call it the ocean, but I've been corrected. I know it's the Gulf. And but it's still salt water. And isn't it? Like it is, right? Yeah, got that right? Okay. Sepulveda, is anybody going to tell me? Please correct me. But anyway, so about a week in, my husband Tony and I were like, we've got to go. We've got to go to the water. And so we did it. What time of day do you generally do that here? Sunset, right? Sunset. And we went on a beautiful walk after a very long week of moving and my first week here, and we go to the beach and we're walking and I just feel renewed, and we watch the sunset and it's gorgeous, it's beautiful. And I can sense and feel the all that is all around. And then we were having a conversation and I said, you know what though, there are so many times when I've walked those beautiful landscapes and seascapes where I'm walking and I'm thinking about my problems. Like in the reading of Healing Letters by Myrtle Fillmore, and where I'm anxious, I'm thinking of the idleness, I'm thinking of what's wrong, and I'm missing the whole seascape, the whole landscape. I'm missing it. That's how powerful our minds are. We can be right in the presence of beauty and love, which, by the way, we are all the time, and not see it. That's how powerful our mind is. And so I was thinking of, we can be walking on the beach and we can choose to look at the sunset. We can choose to be present, or we can choose to be thinking about why it's not well with my soul, right? Two experiences. One inspires love, beauty. The other continues the drama and whatever that experience is. What I want to do and say in this conversation is energy flows where attention goes. That's like, that is a new thought statement that we all know. Another way of saying it is what we focus on increases. Where we place our attention, it's as if in our consciousness and mind, myopically, that's our whole world. That's our whole world. And so thoughts are things, thoughts are prayers. And where we place our attention and focus is what tends to manifest in our lives. But here's the thing. People come to New Thought teachings and they're like, you know what, though, I keep trying it. And is it not unfulfilling to say affirmations repeatedly when you don't feel good and when you perhaps don't feel it or believe it? Has anybody had that experience? And then you may be thinking it's an empty promise. So I want to integrate this for us. So we're walking on that beach, right? We've got the sunset, but boy, something's on our mind. Our mind is working, and it's hard to get it to stop. It's hard to focus. And what I want to say to you in those moments when it feels like it is not well with your soul, and you can't look at the sunset, and affirmations don't seem to be helping, that there is this opportunity in that moment to integrate it. And what I want to say, how we do that is not by judging ourselves. Don't judge ourselves. The way that we do it is to remember that our lives, just as they are, and just as they are not, they're perfect. Go on. Not quite there yet. It's an idea I want us to begin to embrace. Your life is absolutely perfect. A quote from The Way of Mastery says it like this: I do not live any ordinary moments, and neither do you. With each breath, our experiences are stepping stones laid before me of God to guide me home. So when that mind is going, when it does not feel well with your soul, it's a call to prayer. It's a call to love. It's a call to say, to offer it up and say, I really want to look at that sunset. I can't yet. I need help. I'm not there yet. The key is not to judge yourself. Gee, I go to the spiritual community and everybody's happy all the time. And can I go when I don't feel happy? And the answer is absolutely. Because we're here to buoy one another up, to remind each other of the truth, and to take the hand of our brother and sister and to walk each other home to awakening together. Because we got into this together. We got to get out of it together, right? We're not alone, So approach those moments with non-judgment, with complete acceptance and love. And consider what Rumi says. When the world pushes you to your knees, you are in the perfect position for prayer. Okay? It's okay. It's okay. So the next piece I want to just share is the how. How do we do this? I'm going to go through this a little fast, but it's okay. Because there's a part of you that is getting this completely. Okay? How. We're going to use how as an acronym. And the first step is H, honest. To be honest with ourselves. I'm walking, I know the minister said I'm supposed to look at the sunset, but boy, I don't feel so good. Be honest without judgment. This is what is so for me right now. This is what is so for me right now. And my how is like, how. There are two H's, okay? How. Ha-ha. The second one is humility. Humility. Your ego does not like this. Ego views this as humiliation. Humility, though, is so beautiful. Humility is the idea of really owning your power. The mess, the one that's uncomfortable, the one that tells you it's not all well with the world, your world, we kind of made it. I know things happen to us too, right? Well, you got to take a class for that one. But, but here's the thing, is how I deal with what's coming to me, or appears to be coming to me, how I perceive it is the key. And I can just say, you know what, my best thinking got me here. My best thinking got me here. Boy, am I pretty amazing. I mean, look at this, look at this mess, or look at this feeling tones, because sometimes it's not, an effect is also the emotional field. And so it becomes this idea that the egoic thinking is an issue. That's an issue, folks. That's an issue. We cannot, and you've heard this, you can't solve that problem at the level of thinking that created the problem. We have to rise. That's what prayer does. So the how, honesty and humility. And the way I like to do humility is my little funny way of doing it. It's a theory that I've created. And if I could patent it, I would. But I don't know how to do that. And I don't think it's patentable because somebody else owns it, I think. But anyway, the point is that anybody grow up on Hogan's Hero? Anybody see Hogan's Hero? Okay. Yeah, I know there might be some people who don't. But in Hogan's Hero, there was this character called Sergeant Schultz. Can you guys see Sergeant Schultz? Can you see Sergeant Schultz? Is he up there? Is he Sergeant Schultz? Sergeant Schultz was in a position of overlooking much in his role. And in the overlooking, he would see what was happening in the world of appearance, and he'd shake his head and he'd say, I see nothing. And then he would say, I know nothing. He was German, so that's my German accent. I see nothing, I know nothing. That's my funny way of getting us to laugh a little bit, to arrive at what my friend has said is the beginner's mind. The beginner's mind. I don't know. Gosh, if I knew better, I would have done better, but maybe I don't know. And maybe I need help. So the O, so we have the HHO is open. Just be open. Open to a new idea. That sure didn't work. Gee, I might have been mistaken. Let's try something new. Openness. And then the third is willingness. This one's sometimes tough because in the willingness, you got to be willing to let go of your thinking. You've got to be willing to let go to the extent that you know that as you do so, your whole life could change. And it seems like that's what you're asking for, but we humans kind of say we want that, and then when it happens, we're uncomfortable. And so there has to be a willingness to be made new. Are you willing? Are you willing to be made new? Yeah, thank you, Linda. Are you willing to be made new? And then the answer is yes. So here's the good news. Here's the good news. The good news is this. There's a key. There's a key about prayer. We try to make it really complicated. I know we do. And I came through Unity and then Science of Mind. We have books that are about this thick. And as I was contemplating this message, I was thinking about this little booklet. Look at how thin this is. This little booklet. I was thinking about it. The last time I had seen this little booklet was when I was at Unity Church of Overland Park, Kansas, in the mid-90s. And I'm like, God, I wonder whatever happened to that little book. And I was wandering around campus, and I went into higher grounds, and I looked down, and here it is. Now I'm going to get in trouble because I don't think we've ordered more, but we can. We can. And it's called The Golden Key. The Golden Key. So yeah, you're familiar with it. So The Golden Key is by Emmett Fox. And Unity, he had a relationship with Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, and this was something that the Fillmores asked for him to create. And in the beginning, he says if it was possible to make it even shorter, he would. But it's 5 little pages, that's all. And what he says is that study and research are well in their own time and place to get you out of any difficulty. Oh, no. Study and research are well in their own time and place, but no amount of either will get you out of your difficulty. Isn't it like us? We're going to go study about it, like those thick books, right? Nothing but practical work in your own consciousness will do that. And so I want to just introduce to you what we're going to be practicing this week. It's called the Golden Key. And the first slide about this says, scientific prayer will enable you to get yourself or anyone else out of any difficulty, the golden key to harmony and happiness. You know, our founders, not only of Unity, but New Thought founders, they believed this. They believed it with every fiber of their being. It was Myrtle Fillmore who heard that an affirmation, and the affirmation which led to her healing was that I am a child of God. I do not inherit sickness. And she was suffering with tuberculosis. And at the time when this happened, there was no treatment really, truly for it. And so she heard this. She felt determined. And she chose to believe it, but then practiced it by blessing her entire body, every organ, fiber, action of her being with love. And she was healed, which brought her conviction. If you look at the medical treatments that were available back then, it was frightening. And so, you know, it's like, I better pray. Today, we have different options. But I would suggest that prayer in our community is the first. So we practice it to prove it so that we have the conviction of belief. Then here it is. Did number 2 go up yet? This is it. The 5 pages basically say this. All you have to do is this. Stop thinking about the difficulty. Stop thinking about the difficulty, whatever it is, and think about God instead. Think about God instead. Turn from the condition. Turn from it. Bless it. Don't blame yourself for it. Offer it and turn to God. And over the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about our understanding of God. Give the God of your understanding your full attention and appreciation. Full attention and appreciation. So going back to imagining yourself walking on the beach and focusing on the beauty, or being on the grounds here and just allowing yourself to give it your full attention and appreciation. Just be. I'm going to use a word. It's sensual. It's sensual. We have this body and we allow our senses to be present. What does it feel like to tip your toe into the ocean? What does the breeze feel like on your skin, through your hair? What are the scents and fragrances? What is the taste or the flavor? Be present. Full attention and appreciation to the God of your understanding. God is love. And focus your attention there. And then the last thing says this. It could not be simpler, could it? It could not be simpler. Are you willing to believe that? Are you willing to believe that? Are you willing to try that this week? And so, yes. So this is the spiritual practice for the week. We're going back to the beach, Caitlin, and we're going back to the beach. You're walking through your life. You focus to the best of your ability to give your full attention and appreciation to God, to Spirit, to love. When you become aware of what's going on that has you tripped up, don't judge, bless it. Be honest. Think, oh, you know what? I might not know the solution to this. Be open to a new solution. Be willing to be made new. And as Myrtle Fillmore said, stop your thinking. The only thing that we're to do is to turn to God, to Spirit. And it is simple. This is our spiritual practice for this week. We're going to golden key everything. And we'll continue our conversation next week. The power of prayer. God bless you. I love you. Something wonderful is happening. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So let us pray.
Take me to green pastures, lay me by still waters, back to the beginning, deep within my soul. Plant me in the meadow, shower me with sunshine, lift me up from under, teach me how to grow. All is well, all is well. Listen to the Spirit whisper, all is well. All is well, all is well. In silence you can hear it whisper, all is well. All is well. All is well.
So no matter the condition, all is well. All is well with my soul. And as we have turned within to this holy sanctuary within our own being, we have turned away from the conditions of the world. They're nothing. They dissipate and disappear into the nothingness from which they came. I know that they are simply propped up by thoughts that I choose no longer to engage in. I turn from those conditions. I bless myself. I bless our world. I know that all is well with my soul, but I'm choosing in this moment, I'm choosing to turn to God. I give my full attention and appreciation to the God, love, energy, this love, intelligence, this divinity, this power and this presence that created all in perfection and wholeness and beauty and grace, such that the whole universe operates in an orderly fashion, such that as I turn to this beloved presence of love, I easily and let go of everything unlike love. My attention and focus is there. Love is, God is, peace is, joy is. And as I focus there, that expands such that my whole being feels the presence of love, a peace, a companionship that God is with me now. No matter what I walk through, God is with me. And that this presence guides me perfectly, that I rise in a consciousness above all the conditions of the world, and I see clearly. I'm companioned and loved, guided. All is well, all is well with my soul.
All is well, all is well. Listen to the Spirit whisper, all is well. All is well, all is well. In silence you can hear it whisper, all is well. All is well. All is well.
So I practice a moment of gratitude. How grateful I am. How grateful I am for this experience. How grateful I am for a shift in consciousness and awareness. How grateful I am for the connection that I feel in this sanctuary and for receiving exactly what I needed today so that I may go on and walk the landscapes and the seascapes of my life, knowing that all is well with my soul. And as I do so, I bless my brothers and sisters whom I pass along the way, and I cast cast forth my blessing upon the world, which I know all is well with the world, with my brothers, with my sisters, and my family. I cast this forth and expand it in gratitude and joy, knowing that as I focus on this, it returns to me fulfilled because it's already done in the mind of God, and I let it be. I allow it to be. And so it is. And so it is. And so lingering in this moment, all is well. And so it is.